are going to learn about our solar system. So let's gear up. One day, Rohit saw in his dream that he has become an astronaut. He is moving around on the surface of the moon. He could not believe that he has set his foot on the moon. So Rohit is having an amazing experience. He described about his dream to his parents. He was always fascinated by the night sky. Now Rohit's parents surprised him by giving him a telescope. Do you know what is a telescope? Telescope is an instrument that makes far objects appear larger and nearer. So now can you recall and tell what Rohit is expected to see in the night sky using his telescope? The stars. You all must have seen lots of shining objects in the night sky. Among these, most of the tiny objects they twinkle and they are called stars. A star is a huge ball of hot gases which gives out heat and light. So now let's check your knowledge. A huge ball of hot gases which gives out heat and light. And answer is star. And we are not able to see stars in the daytime although they are present in the sky. What is the reason behind that? Because the sun shines so brightly and due to the bright glare of the sun we are not able to see stars in the daytime. And sun is the main source of energy on earth. And sun is also a star because it is also a huge ball of hot gases and it gives out heat and light. And it is the closest star to earth. And in fact, sun is much smaller than some of the stars. But still sun appears to be bigger. Why? Because stars are very far away from us, so they appear to be very small in comparison to sun, which is the closest star to earth. And stars live for millions of years. So now let's check your knowledge. The source of all forms of energy on earth is water, green plants, the sun or core of the earth. And the correct answer is the sun. And stars are visible to us. They belong to Milky Way galaxy. What is a galaxy? A galaxy is a huge group of stars that contains billions of stars. And there are billions of such galaxies in the universe. What is a universe? Universe is a vast space that includes Earth, planets and stars. So as there are billions more of such galaxies in the universe like Milky Way galaxy, so this makes the total number of the stars in the night sky almost uncountable. So there are uncountable stars. So now let's check your knowledge. The galaxy to which our solar system belongs is Milky Way, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor or Orion. The correct answer is Milky Way galaxy. The dash is a huge group of stars and the answer is the galaxy is a huge group of stars. And our solar system, it is located on one side of the Milky Way galaxy. It consists of sun, planets, dwarf planets, moon and some other heavenly bodies. And sun is at the center of the solar system and it is surrounded by 8 planets. So how many planets are there in our solar system? There are 8 planets in our solar system and over 61 moons and other heavenly objects. And all of these, what they do is they revolve around the sun in a fixed path. As you can see, all the planets are moving in a fixed path. And this path is called orbit. As you can see in the picture that Earth is revolving around the sun and in a fixed path. And this path is called orbit. Sun is at the center of the solar system. So Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, and it is also the fastest planet as it rotates around the sun in 88 days. The second planet is Venus, and it is the hottest and brightest planet, and it does not have a moon. The third planet is our Earth, and it is the only planet on which life is possible, and it has only one moon, and Earth is 4.5 billion years old. The next and the fourth planet is Mars, and it is also called red planet because of iron oxide present on it, and it has two moons. Fifth planet is Jupiter, and it is the largest planet, and it is also fastest spinning planet as one day is only 10 hours on Jupiter, and it has 67 moons. Our sixth planet is Saturn, and it has 7 layers of rings as you can see over here, and these rings are made of ice, dust and rocks. Our seventh planet is Uranus, and our eighth planet is Neptune, and Uranus and Neptune are also called the outermost planets. Do you know that until 2006, Pluto was also considered as a ninth planet, but Pluto was downgraded from being the ninth planet to a dwarf planet. So what is a dwarf planet? A dwarf planet is smaller than a planet, and it orbits the sun and is round in shape. And apart from Pluto, there are other dwarf planets also there. So now let's check your knowledge. The fixed path on which the Earth revolves around the sun. And the answer is orbit. Next is a heavenly body that revolves around a star. And the answer is planet. There are some other shining objects in the night sky which do not twinkle, and these are called planets. Planets are heavenly bodies that revolve around the sun in a fixed path that is called orbit, and a planet does not have heat or light of their own, but they reflect the light of its closest star, and that is why it shines in the night sky. So total there are 8 planets that orbits the sun in order from the sun is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. The first 4 planets, that is Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, they are rocky and solid planets. And the next 4, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, they are made of icy cold gases and are large in size. The 3 planets, Mercury, Venus and Mars, they are often visible in the sky, and we can easily locate Mercury and Venus in the early mornings and late evenings. Mars, that can also be located in the night sky due to its reddish color. And Jupiter, as we know, it is the largest and the heaviest planet among all. And Saturn has a large number of gaseous rings surrounding it. The last 4 planets, that is Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, they are far from our Earth and they can be only seen with the help of a telescope. And almost all the planets have satellites or moons that revolve around them. And the moon is a natural satellite that revolves around the Earth. And we have only one moon. So let's check the knowledge. The number of planets in our solar system is 8, 9, 10 or countless. And we know correct answer is 8. The closest star to our planet is it the Sun, the Moon, Mars or Neptune? And the correct answer is the Sun. And we know that Pluto is a dwarf planet and it was considered the 9th planet until 2006 when it was reclassified as dwarf planet. Pluto was discovered in 1930. But now Pluto is known as a dwarf planet. So tell me a dwarf planet name, and the name is Pluto. Planets reflect the light of their closest. Answer is star. The dash has many gaseous rings around it, and we know the answer is Saturn. Next is say true or false. A planet shines but does not twinkle, and this statement is absolutely true because a planet does not have heat and light of its own, but they reflect the light of its closest star. So they do shine but they do not twinkle. Mars is bigger than Jupiter. This is false because Jupiter is the largest of all. The moon is the Earth's only natural satellite and is the fifth largest satellite in the solar system. The moon does not have its own light. What makes the moon shine at night? Can you tell me, as we have already learnt in planet topic also? The same way, we see the moon shining in the night because it reflects the sunlight, as you can see in the picture. The moon is reflecting the sunlight from its surface. So that is why it appears to be shining. The revolution of the moon around the earth makes the moon appear as if it is changing shape in the sky. And the changing shape of the bright part of the moon that we see is called phases. So there are total 8 phases of the moon. Now let's check your knowledge. Say true or false. The moon is the center of the solar system. This is absolutely false. Sun is the center of the solar system. Our Earth is unique as it is the only planet which has air and water. And the Earth is the only planet in the solar system that has life on it. Life on the Earth would not have been possible without the sun. And the sun is source of all forms of energy on the Earth. Earth is a beautiful planet with oceans, seas, rivers, mountains, plants, trees, humans and animals. Do you know that it was not always as you see it now? Do you ever wonder how old the Earth is? It is estimated to be 4 to 5 billion years old. And Earth used to appear 4.5 billion years ago like this, and now Earth is like this. And do you know how many zeros are there in a billion? There are 9 zeros in billion. And Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Initially, the Earth was a huge ball of dust and hot gases, as you can see this. We are going to draw side by side. Okay. So, the Earth kept spinning for millions of years. As it spun, its outer surface turned cold and hard and it formed the crust. This is the crust of the Earth. The humans, plants and animals, they live on the crust. And the earth crust is about 30 kilometers thick. And below the crust is the hot mantle. And this hot mantle is made of molten rocks. It is about 3000 kilometers thick. And there is an innermost layer which is called the core of the earth. This is the outer core of the earth and this is the inner core of the earth. The innermost layer is called the core and it is made of iron, nickel and some other metals. The core is extremely hot with very high temperature reaching up to 5700 degrees Celsius. Sometimes the molten rocks in the mantle find a weak spot in the earth crust. They break through this weak point and the hot boiling liquid called lava, this is the lava, which comes out along with some gases as you can see. It rushes out of the earth crust and this is called volcano. Now let's check your knowledge. The core is the dash layer of the earth. and we know the core is the innermost layer of the earth. The outer layer of the earth is called crust. Now let's understand what causes day and night. The earth spins like a giant merry-go-round. It spins around an imaginary line passing through the center. And this imaginary line that passes through the north and south pole of the earth, it is called the axis of the earth. The spinning of the earth around the axis. So this is the spinning of the earth around its own axis. This is called rotation. Earth's rotation. This is the axis. This is an imaginary line. This is north pole and south pole. And spinning of the earth around its axis is called rotation. And one rotation of the earth is completed in 24 hours. So only half of the earth is exposed to the sun at a time, while the other half remains away from the sun. So the part of the earth facing the sun, as you can see in this picture, the part of the earth which faces the sun has daytime, while the part which is not facing the sun has nighttime. This is the reason we have day and night. And there is another imaginary line that divides the earth into two equal halves. This imaginary line is called equator. The two equal halves in which the equator divides the earth are called northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Now let's check your knowledge. The dash is an imaginary line that passes through the poles of the earth, and we know the answer is the axis is an imaginary line that passes through the poles of the earth. The dash is one half of the earth. The hemisphere is the one half of the earth, and the dash divides the earth into two equal halves, and the answer is the equator divides the earth into two equal halves. Now let's learn what causes changes in seasons. The axis of the earth is not vertical, but it is slightly tilted. As you can see, the axis is slightly tilted, and it is tilted at 23.5 degrees. So besides spinning off its axis, the earth also moves around the sun. This movement of the earth around the sun, as you can see in the picture, it takes place on the fixed path. So the movement of the earth around the sun in a fixed path, that is an orbit, is called a revolution. And the earth takes 365 days and 6 hours to complete one revolution around the sun. And this duration is called solar year, or simply a year. So earth takes 365 days and 6 hours to complete revolution around the sun. And throughout the year, as the earth orbits the sun, its parts are in different position with respect to the sun. And the difference causes changes in season, as you can see over here, at different places on the earth. At any time, the northern and the southern hemisphere has opposite seasons. The four main seasons are spring, summer, autumn and winter. The seasons on earth changes every 3 months, and there are two main reasons for the change of season. And what are these? Number one is the axis of the earth is tilted 23.5 degree. And the second reason is the earth revolves the sun once a year. So if the earth stopped revolving around the sun, the season would never change, and we would remain in whatever season we were in when the earth stopped revolving. So if the earth tripped over a few more degrees also, the season would be more extreme. Means winter would be colder and summer would be much hotter. And if the earth was tipped less, the season would be less extreme. If the earth stood straight, the earth would have never have seasons again, and every place would have same climate all of the time. However, each location would have a different climate. So the two main reasons for the change in the season on earth is the tilted axis of the earth and the revolution of the earth around the sun. So because of that, the countries in the northern hemisphere like India, China, USA, etc., they get more sunlight and have summer. On the other hand, countries in the southern hemisphere like South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, etc., have winter. Let's do the knowledge check. The dash of the earth causes change in the season on the earth, and the answer is revolution. I hope you all learned a lot about our solar system and also enjoyed learning the new facts. Do you know who is he? He is Neil Armstrong, an American astronaut, and he was the first man to land on moon on 20th July 1969.